Welcome back to Behind the Mic, the October 13th edition here on Radio Theology, your weekly dose of faith, hope, love, and music. Pastor Darren, your host, and guys, we had a lot of fun this week.
We did.
Fix this camera.
I'm just first going to say, Pastor Darren, the host.
Yeah, these two other nameless people who
Alone.
I got distracted by a camera.
Okay.
Pastor Darren here with Ryan and Lisa. Oh my gosh, attention hogs. Hey guys, we started talking about Halloween, going to the dogs. Everybody dressing up their pets for Halloween.
Sure.
Yeah.
At first, I thought I was against it. I've now realized I'm actually for it.
Okay. I can't wait to see little pup Theo.
Well, I'm not saying I'm spending $29 in a costume for him, but
Yeah.
actually, I want to go. There is actually a Halloween party that I just saw an ad for. It's actually going to be at Wolfie's where we do pub theology
Okay.
and worship on the water.
Yeah.
They're putting a big tent party on, and it's been a long time since I've gone to a legit Halloween party and got to do get a real costume.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been to one.
I think we should go.
I'm doing one tomorrow night, actually. It's
Oh.
called Scarioke.
Oh.
Dress up.
Is it a
costume.
dress up thing?
Yeah.
No, that'd
Yeah.
be fun.
That would be
You
fun.
dress up and do karaoke.
What are you going to do?
Lauren is going to be, my wife Lauren is going to be an 80s workout girl.
Okay.
A
A lot of neon.
lot of neon, a lot of spandex,
Yep.
a lot of just jumping jacks and the like.
Okay.
I am going to be Leroy Sideburns.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
From our My Favorite Things that we shot there at the Indy 500 this
Yep.
past Memorial Day
Yep.
weekend, if
Will
you saw that.
Will you stay in character?
All night long.
All night.
In the words of Lionel Richie, all night
All
long.
night long, Leroy,
Uh-huh.
Leroy.
Yeah. It's going to be awesome.
Wow, great.
Yep.
So
Oh,
hey,
that's
if
so
you got
fun.
a pet in a Halloween costume, we'd love to see it on radiotheology.com.
Yeah.
Jump on there and give us a
Yeah.
give us a little
Tell
shout
me more
out.
about the Wolfie's party. So they're doing a tent party?
Yeah, it's Scott's. I think it's his cousin, a guy named Pete. He puts
Okay.
on a big party, and
Scott Wolf.
it's a outdoor, so that it's from
Okay.
8 to 11 or something.
Okay.
Big tent party in the parking lot.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
you come
yeah.
inside, they've got the Jay Baker band, a couple different
Nice.
another band maybe.
You're serving
Damn.
beer outside? I love a good Oktoberfest.
Oh
And
yeah,
when it's crisp outside and you get that Sam Adams Oktoberfest.
it
in
is
it.
good.
Yeah. It's going to be so fun.
2 years ago, I got overzealous, and I bought I don't know how many quantities of Oktoberfest I bought, and then October was over, and I was like, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And
not
then they
feeling this
stayed
anymore.
in my fridge so long that after I
Yeah.
looked at them, it was the best by date was 12 months prior.
Oh,
I'm like,
gosh.
well, I think this is a throwaway fest at this point.
Oh, bummer.
I've got a buddy who does, he celebrates Oktoberfest and then he does November,
Oh.
where he doesn't drink beer all of November as kind of like a recovery period. Yeah.
I saw a thing on Joe Rogan's Instagram the other day that was they're doing Oktober.
Oktoberfest.
Okay.
Sure.
Oktoberfest.
I get it.
Whatever floats your boat. Hey, this week we talked about the animals. We'd love to see your animal in their Halloween costume at radiotheology.com. Then we transitioned to a very, very pressing topic, which was, Lisa, are you raising a mean girl?
Yeah, I felt like you said that tongue in cheek, like a very pressing topic. It's a very pressing topic. I'm starting to freak all the way the heck out, you guys.
Listen, there was no jest in in the transition here. Yeah,
'Cause it's super serious.
Yeah.
Because my girl, with her spirit and spunk and, oh boy, if she becomes a mean girl, she's going to be the meanest mean girl. Because she's 0 to 100, right? So we need to channel that somehow in
Yeah.
a really positive direction.
You gotta
And right
nip that
now,
in the
I'm just
bud.
so scared.
Yeah.
I like that you're paying attention this early. I
Yeah.
think that's very wise.
I'd agree with that.
We had quite a few calls come in this week. Other moms saying, we're trying to nip it in the bud. We're boom, right when it's happening, we're talking directly to it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't have time.
But,
I didn't have time to get a little critical on the air.
sure.
So I shall now.
Yeah.
You're welcome. Here's the thing I think is interesting, is whether it's mean girl for you or it's, a little, arrogant, pompous jerk son or whatever it could be for the boy side of things.
Yeah.
All the moms said what you're supposed to say.
Right.
Right.
Well, I'm not going to raise a mean girl.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to let her be mean.
Mm-hmm.
Well, name the dysfunction in life that teenagers have or any kid has that you interview the parent and they're like, oh, yeah, that was part of the strategy.
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah, we tried to raise a mean girl.
Right. And that's the only
We
way you
showed her pictures
survive.
of people and let her make fun of them right there in the room. You know what I mean?
Well, that's true. Well, and that's the scary part is that no matter what you say and do,
Yeah.
there's still a chance because you can't control another person.
Correct.
Not even your children.
Correct.
especially not your
Especially
children,
not
maybe.
Don't try. It's a bad strategy.
Bad strategy that you could do all and say all the right things or whatever, and your kid is still leading a prison gang. Right? Like, that
Just
is
shanking people on the
just-
bus.
right,
Just
this
left and
is
right.
like-
They're making shanks with
Yeah,
sporks.
yeah.
right.
Face
This is like,
tattoos.
my daughter is either going to be like, she is going to lead some company or something awesome, or she is going to lead the most kick prison gang on the planet.
That
That was good self-censoring of
That
yourself.
was
Thank
great
you.
self-censoring.
Yeah.
Let's not speak it into being. We have power in our
Power
11
in the
million
words.
words.
Yes.
We talked
Okay.
about that this week too.
We'll get there.
But I agree with you. I think, and this popped into my head. I don't want to say the cliche Sunday school thing. I'm not trying to, but it is where I do think like prayer comes into it.
For sure.
Not just like pray. It's not like pray and flip a coin into the wish fountain. We're not.
Sure.
I don't mean that.
Pray the mean away.
I don't mean that. Good Lord. We do need the help of God to intervene with our kids, right?
For sure.
Oh, no doubt
Oh
about
my
it.
goodness.
Yeah.
Yes.
But one of the things I did think was good is we were talking about this off the air, is that my observation, my dad used to say this all of the time, and I do think it's pretty true. He'd always say, the apple never falls far from the tree. Mm-hmm. Is that another great mentor of mine used to say, more is caught than is taught,
Okay.
I can get
which
that.
I think is gospel truth for parenting.
Yeah.
Is you can say, well, we're teaching our kid to be not a mean girl.
Mm-hmm.
But if when you and your girlfriends get a glass of wine in you on the sun deck and you're hanging out and all of a sudden your daughter just hears you destroying other women,
Yeah.
or I think there can be a part of it too, as we talked about, I think we talked about this week, we did on stories on Instagram about loving your neighbor as you love yourself.
Yeah.
I wonder, this just popped into my head, I wonder if, because I have heard this with friends of mine that have daughters, is I always get upset when I hear the moms talk really bad about themselves to each other.
Yes.
Like they're healthy, they take care of themselves, they work hard, and then they just totally cut themselves down in front of it. And then they're teaching their daughters, I think,
Yeah.
hey, you can't talk confidently about yourself. Like, this is what we do. We cut ourselves down, which then I think maybe if you can't love yourself,
Right.
then it's easier for you. Like the one caller that talked about that she realizes it in herself when she feels insecure around a more put together woman or whatever. It's easy to go like, well, the first thing we're going to do here is throw some stones.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it's way too easy. Yeah, and I don't know. And I agree. But I think we talked about it a couple weeks ago, too. When I was realizing with this powerful moment I had with Josie, like, man, how do you raise a daughter who knows her worth? You have to show that you know your worth
Yeah,
as
it's
well.
good. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's kind of all in this big lesson that I'm apparently learning.
Okay,
As if there's
apparently.
a theme.
I didn't know
Ryan
mom
has
had
never seen
jokes
a
like
pun
this.
he
Yeah.
does not like.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, there
Apparently.
you go. I didn't even get it. I was like,
You
wow.
said it. You're the one who came up with it. Trademark Lisa, I Am Mother of the Year, 2019.
Oh my gosh. No,
Well,
but it made me panic because because the moment that started this whole thing was that Josie was saying, well, Catherine doesn't have any friends. Well, I'm not going to be friends with Catherine. And I remember I was in 4th grade and there was this girl named Rebecca and nobody liked her and I didn't like her. But some of the kids were making fun of her and I said, you guys need to stop that, And they're like, what are you, her friend? And I was like, no. So I'm like, I stood up for her, but I didn't claim her either. And so that was the flashback moment going, oh my God.
Did Rebecca hear and just cry in the
She
corner?
heard everything. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my
Yeah.
God. Like, so I'm like, I felt shame for that. And so basically Josie's sitting in the kitchen table that morning and I'm sitting in my little desk in 4th grade going, no, I don't like her, but no, we're not friends, but you shouldn't make fun of her. So then I'm like,
so have you shared that exact story with Josie yet?
no.
Would you?
Yeah. Maybe.
I really
I
think,
don't know.
Guys.
The more I say it, the more I'm like, no.
I really think we're getting somewhere.
Are we? Okay, good. I
No,
feel like
but
I'm on the
yeah.
therapy couch.
No,
okay.
this is good.
But I could.
I
Yeah,
could
you
be
totally
wrong.
could.
I could
Okay.
be wrong, and I won't shit on you. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Should.
I think it's a healthy thing because I think a lot of times as parents we can stand up on our parental speech soapbox.
Yeah.
Let me tell you what you should and shouldn't do, daughter, son.
Yeah.
But we talk about this. I mean, you say it all the time, Lisa, about sharing your mess first.
Right.
And we want to develop a culture in our lives that is full of grace and truth, right?
Yeah.
The Bible tells us that Jesus came full of grace and truth. And the kind of culture we want to create is a culture of love. And a culture of love exists when it's 100% grace, 100% truth. And one of the ways that we can move people into that area of life is by telling the truth about ourselves first.
Mm-hmm.
You have a situation where you want your daughter to learn both grace and truth here.
Yeah.
But you need to bring some truth into her life. You can't exclude people. I think maybe what you could do in this is when you sit down and say, honey, let me take you back to a painful part of my childhood where I wish I would have chosen different.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Now
Yeah.
you're now instead of it being I'm coming after you for what you've done wrong, honey, I'm inviting you into here's something that I learned in my life and
So good.
Yes.
I don't know.
This is why we pay you the big bucks.
Well,
Now I can stop paying my counselor the big bucks. You're hired.
Sadly enough, guys, we all three make $12 an hour.
Wait, you guys get paid for this? What? That's a good
Okay.
word, though.
No,
Sharing,
that's good.
sharing something from our past, because even those painful moments, we talk about this in Spiritual DNA, our online course and live workshop that helps you move from feeling stuck and frustrated with your calling to actually living it out. Where your pain, those painful negative valleys, whatever you want to call them, of your life, are very unique to you and can be used to not only just glorify God, but also help someone out. I think that's really cool that sometimes we don't want to sift through that, though, because we don't want to relive that pain. I have a good friend who was invited to share part of her story of what high school was like for her in front of a room full of high schoolers. Ooh. And high school was not very fun for her because of a number of different reasons. And she realized in the process, she's like, wow, I'm going right back into that, and I don't want to. And literally what is happening inside her brain, like those old neurological pathways are starting to fire again.
Yeah.
And it's those emotions bubble up, and it's like, don't be afraid of that. Like, wade into that, because someone is going to hear part of your story and it's going to resonate with them. And I don't know, you're such a gifted storyteller that I bet if you told Josie, like, hey, do you want to hear a story about mom when she was 9 years old?
Yeah.
Of course she would lean into that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess I didn't share that with her because I think she's too young to understand it. But I bet that's not actually true.
But I guess you don't know until you get in the middle of it. You may share it, and it may just go over her head, but it might not. It might hit.
Right.
And I think that might be the first time you tell it.
Mm-hmm.
But she may hear that story 5-6 times over the next 3 or 4 years,
right?
Until she gets it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's actually a decent segue into the other thing we talked about was about our words.
Yeah.
We use the Khalid song "Can't We Just Talk" as the background music for the thought of the day this week, and that's I think a huge question that we all are like asking, even when we're not asking it, is can't we just talk about the difficult things in life? And one of the things that I shared in the thought of the day was that so often undiscussed issues relationally become highways of dysfunction. Now, discussed things that are brought out into the light and love of God become highways of wholeness. And I think what we pull from that segment about not wanting to raise a mean girl or a bad boy or whatever it would be, I don't know what the boy equivalent would be. But the cool part is, and I think what we did it from the moms, or
rude
is
dude.
it's like a rude dude.
Sorry.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Uh-huh.
Is the question is, can't we just talk? And if the answer is yes, like you're not shaming Josie, you're not screaming at her, you're not yelling at her, you're not telling her what she has to do, you're not playing the punisher role. Oh, I found out you're a mean girl, therefore you're grounded for 6 weeks and that blah blah. It's like, no. Here's what we're going to do. Mm-hmm. We're going to start talking about this, and guess what? We never stop talking about it.
Yeah.
Because my guess is, what she probably doesn't know how to say in a little 5-year-old in emotion is exactly what one of the moms said is like, we're mean to other people when we feel insecure.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And probably if you dig a little deeper into like the 4th grade moment in your class, like what was it in that moment that made me feel insecure when I was like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not her friend.
I could tell you exactly what it was because I didn't want them to make fun of me for being her friend. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, I could stick up for you. That's one thing, but I'm not going to identify with you and put myself right next to you in line on the chopping block.
We could call it the Peter principle. Right?
Yeah, getting denying Jesus 3 times.
Yeah.
Is that where you're going?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like here's Jesus that's like been Jesus for 3 years in his life, done all the amazing things. And it's like, hey, you want to like stick up for this guy and like stand in the gap here relationally?
Yeah.
He's really, he's getting ready to get beaten there. I mean, you're his friend, right? We saw each other one time in the Cafe.
I don't
It could
know.
have been him, but I mean, his back was facing me.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
He's gotten a haircut recently. I don't know the guy.
Yes, just
I
call
don't
me
know.
Peter. Yeah,
Just call me
that's
Pete.
exactly what happened.
Pay no mind to my fish tattoo on my wrist that says JC next to it. Pay no mind to my WWJD bracelet.
Right. I think it is tough, though, not just to be kind to people, but to say you belong to them.
Right. Yeah, that's the
They're-
difference.
They're mine, too.
Yeah.
And that's what I love about our relationship with Jesus. He's never ashamed to say, hey, they belong to me,
Yes.
no matter how shameful we're being. But I think that's why it is so important. We talked about this week, we're doing this encouragement challenge.
Yeah.
An idea I had, honestly, I'll just be cards on the table here.
Go ahead.
Selfishly, I created this in the early wine home because I just wanted to be encouraged more in my own home because I crave it.
Yeah, and you don't
Yeah.
think it would work just saying, guys, you know what I need?
Yeah,
I
just
need-
encourage
I
me.
just need you to encourage
So
me a
I
little bit more.
so I passively aggressively chose to create the early wine encouragement challenge.
Yeah. Hashtag
Hashtag.
EC.
Wait, so,
EC.
okay, keep going, and then I've got a question for you.
So basically, but we want to invite you in this. What I did in my home was like, hey guys, let's do our best to out encourage each other this week as a family. And I explained to them the word encouragement means, to put courage in, that word in, and how important courage is for each one of us. I said, imagine if after 7 days, like every time any of us came home, we were in a competition to see who could put the most courage into one another.
Yeah.
And I was like, let's check back in on Sunday and see if we feel more courageous as a family. We want to invite you into this. Through social media, we're going to do this on radiotheology.com. Just follow us on Instagram and on Twitter, Facebook, and you can be a part of the Radio Theology community and be a part of the encouragement challenge. But I think it's so important, and I think that's a big part of when you're talking to Josie or we're talking to our kids or other people is as we encourage them, we are putting courage to say, you know what? You can be someone that makes fun of people and stands on the outside, or you can become like a warrior of love that comes in and says, I'm here. I'm a defender of the weak or the
Yeah.
And that I think I'll speak prophetically over your daughter. I think if you raise her with that, you're going to raise a daughter who is a warrior for love and for people that need encouragement. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Because she's feisty,
Yes.
but you're going to raise her in a way where she's able to fight for love and fight for people that need it. Rhino?
What do you? That's a good word, by the way.
For
It's a
sure.
really good
I'm
word.
writing it down.
Let's
I'm
not
getting
just
the needle pointed on the pillow.
wow, needlepoint. Wow.
Yeah.
Is that still,
You
an
needlepoint?
art form?
I don't know. Sounded good though, as
Besides,
a
like-
joke.
Besides, like the Amish women up north in Indiana who like legit needlepoint for their living.
Have you ever had an Amish cinnamon roll?
Oh
I
yeah.
don't think I have.
Oh my gosh, they have the
Game
Holy Spirit.
changer.
Oh wow.
I feel like the Amish do like barns really well and then like apple butter, but I've never had the cinnamon roll. Bonnets they do well too.
Yeah.
Coming to the zoo like 40 deep, they also do that really
Cabinetry.
well. Cabinetry, yeah.
Question you had, Ryan.
Yeah, the question I had. So you
Speaking of putting courage in people.
yeah. The Amish, great community.
Yeah.
What do you really
It's okay. They're not listening to the podcast anyway.
couple
See,
of
we
them
were
are.
so close. We're so the rebels.
Oh,
The
man,
rebels
I
should be.
We're so close to being Christians. Is that what you're saying?
Basically, like,
I just pictured like an Amish boy like sneaking into his parents' barn to like
Download our
to
podcast.
download our podcast. What are you looking at in there? Nothing, Faja.
I just, good Lord.
Get back to building the barn.
Oh,
Josiah.
been
What are
built,
you
Dad,
doing?
for 50 years.
We put it up in 17 minutes. I'm sorry. Okay.
Speaking of apple butter,
Shout
what's
out
the
to
question?
any Amish who should not be listening to this podcast, but are. We love you. God loves you.
thank you for taking the risk.
Thank you for taking the risk. You're the real MVP. What are you craving? You said you crave encouragement. Like, are you craving the affirmation, the external affirmation? Are you craving the feeling that people coming around you gives you? Because you don't do negative emotion well. We've talked about this a lot.
No.
If you're into the Enneagram and you're listening to this, Darren's an Enneagram 7 and an enthusiast. Is that what it is?
Yes.
So life's a party, and when it's not a party, life sucks.
Yes.
Right?
You leave the pain and go create a party.
We
Correct.
do not do negative experience or emotion at all.
Correct.
In your pastoral life, you are not the guy to call when someone is sick at the hospital.
Not necessarily. I'm going to fake and feign
Yeah.
deep care. But I can be sensitive. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
deep.
you're
It's tucked.
sensitive.
It is
yes.
tucked. Okay, so what are you
It's not
craving
that- it's not
when you're
that
like,
hidden. Just FYI,
yeah.
as I put courage and truth into you
Thank
with
you.
love and grace.
So let's talk about that for a sec. Can we just talk? Can we just talk about Darren's dysfunction? So what are you actually craving?
I think some of it is, and this is the deep end of the pool. I think some of it is maybe it's because I don't have a daughter. I don't know. Is like, I feel like I work really hard to be a good dad. Mm-hmm. Like I coach everything. Like I try to be at everything. Like I try real hard.
I see that in you.
Thank you very much for putting courage in me. Mm-hmm. And I think, and part of it, I think maybe comes from my childhood, is like my mom is the most loyal, loving, gentle spirit. But like my dad would even joke about like, would it kill you to encourage me at some point? Like my mom is not, she's not of many words. Mm-hmm. If the average person uses 11 million words a year, my mom uses like 11,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think there's a part of it where I think I probably craved affirmation my whole life.
From the female realm of things specifically?
Probably more.
Okay.
And
more
then
maternal.
I think, yeah. And I think in my home, now I've got today, my son Ty's 13. So I got a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old.
Happy birthday, Ty. We love you.
Happy birthday, Ty. We do love you. Is, the male-dominated house that we have is not exactly like the most overwhelmingly, encouraging thing. Right now for my 15-year-old, my 13-year-old, it's a little more fun to like make fun of dad.
Yeah.
As that's what men do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now, little Knox, my little guy, he's still pretty encouraging.
He's so sweet and pure.
Oh.
Just wait till he clowns on you, though, and he means it.
Oh, they do. That one time on Radio Theology, I posted that one Snapchat filter with the fake eyelashes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, that was
They
intense.
brought that back up this week. Well, Dad, you already ruined our life with that one Snapchat thing.
Ruined our life.
Like, really? Really?
It's just brutal.
Wow.
So it's probably that. I think working hard and trying is wanting to feel like that I'm appreciated. Mm-hmm. It's probably what I'm craving.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Good.
I appreciate you sharing that.
And I'm probably a bottomless pit of affirmation. Like I probably can't ever get enough.
Yeah.
Which also is like the Enneagram 7, like more is better.
More is better. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's everything.
What's the finish line in your fatherhood? Like when you say, "Oh, I work really hard to be a good dad," like what's the destination there? What does being a really good dad feel like and look like to you?
I it's a lot about this. The relationship is that I really want to be able to, when the boys are grown, like I don't want them to need me anymore, right? And they basically don't. We've raised really self-sufficient boys at this point. I'm kind of amazed sometimes because I was never as responsible as they are. But I want to develop the kind of depth of relationship where like that we still want to be around each other.
Yeah.
Like that's a big part for me.
Yeah.
Like
Yep.
they want me to call. They want to hang out. Like, and I said this actually Sunday in the sermon that Julie and I preached about talking about. It was called "Can't We Just Talk?" Was that I really want to. Right now, even we're trying to become their conversational consultants in life. Mm-hmm. Like, Cole's 15, Ty's 13 today, Knox is 9, and as quickly as we can. Like, I don't want to play the role of the punisher in their life. I don't want to play the role of the bank in their life or the genie. Like I want to be their wisdom consultant in life, and I think the best way that happens is by trying to do our best to use a big portion of the 11 million words a year that I speak, to have good conversations.
Yeah. Awesome.
So good.
It's good stuff. This is why we go to the deep end of the pool on Behind the Mic. You can't do this in 4-minute breaks on the radio.
No, you can't.
Yeah.
No.
Now, if we get our own network or something like that,
Yeah.
if you
All
share
day.
this with like 11 million of your friends and they all subscribe,
Yep.
we could probably do this on an actual show.
Yep.
But listen, we know that you got your own stuff. We got the opportunity to have the mic here so you get to hear about our lives, our stories, and we share what we do on Radio Theology and on Behind the Mic because we hope you hear your story in the midst of ours and some of the stories that we share. And but we would love to be able to be more of a partner in where you're at in your life. And so we'd love to hear from you. If there's things that we could pray for you, you can just jump on Facebook or you can send us a direct message on Instagram, Twitter. We're out there all over the place on the internets, and we'd love for you to be a part of that, whether it's comments on the podcast. We'd just love to know a little bit more how we can serve you and how we can encourage you from what we do week to week to week.
Yeah. I just got a text today from a good friend who said that something that you, Darren, in I think yesterday's Instagram story, which is if it was on a Wednesday, it would have been Wisdom Wednesday, where you shared about how Jesus calls us to love our neighbor as we love ourselves, but sometimes that's hard because we don't really fully love ourselves. And my friend shared, he's like, that really struck a chord with me. And he goes, I can see that playing out in many of my relationships, that sort of the, not necessarily disdain, that wasn't the word that he used, but the negative emotions I'm feeling about myself are playing out, kind of getting projected into other relationships that I've got. And so, you know, if you need some encouragement, whatever social media platform you prefer and use most, we're on there, and we really would love to connect with you. And we've had listeners send us prayer requests. We've had them send us celebrations and just bits of encouragement of, hey, this thing that you shared with me really struck a chord with me. So just go to radiotheology.com, like and share this podcast if it has moved you in some way, because there's someone in your sphere of influence who can use you. And we're happy to be along the ride with you in that.
Awesome. Listen, have an amazing week. Enjoy autumn as it shows up. If you're listening to us in South Dakota or somewhere in that area, I think you just got blasted with snow.
Yeah.
And I
So
apologize.
sorry.
May the Lord be with you and also with you, because holy buckets. If we had 10 inches of snow right now,
Gosh.
I would need a ton of courage put in me.
Yes.
Hey, listen, we love you. Thanks for listening. Have an amazing week. And never forget, God's for you, not against you. He's near you, not far from you. And He's created you on purpose and for a purpose. We'll talk to you next week right here behind the mic, an extension of Radio Theology.